Alrighty, okay, so I have some exciting news. I have gotten La Casa de Reina under control here. That is the House of the Queen. So we have some exciting developments coming up. Just a little housekeeping in the beginning. Let's take 2 seconds. The first thing, so for all of you crafty chicks out there, you know who you are. We are going to be doing Arts and Crafts Hour on the channel, but with a twist, always with a twist. So we will still be doing our regular astrology broadcasts, but I really feel better when I'm getting stuff done. And it's my hands are constantly moving anyway. So I will be doing craft projects while we discuss astrology and magic and metaphysics and all sorts of other lovely, glorious stuff, because I am a closet crafter. Yes, I admit it. I'm not the rubber stamp variety. I'm more of like a hands-on kind of homesteading girl, deep down in my heart, secretly. And just to give you an idea, just so you know who you're dealing with, I have the greatest achievement and delight in my life this last 6 months has been getting a dehydrator, woohoo, and learning how to pickle things. So I have a great big old jar of pickled okra in my refrigerator right now that I am just absolutely bat shit nuts for. And if you're new to the channel, yes, there's occasional profanity here because, you know, salty sailors and all sort of stuff. Okay, so there's that. So we're going to be working on crafting and incorporating crafting into like some metaphysical manifestation exercises, having lots of fun. And sometimes it'll just be crafting the craft. So if you are also a crafter, I invite you to join and share with me what you're doing. And I will have an Instagram page up. So if you don't have an Instagram page, it's basically a giant shareable photo album as far as I'm concerned. The kids use it for selfies, but we'll use it for other stuff. So I will be posting images of my finished products on the Instagram, and I invite you to make your own Instagram account. Take pictures of what you're working on and link to my Instagram account so that we can share, because I'd love to see what you're working on. So there's that. And this is going to be really quick. So it is Pep Talk Tuesday, a little early, and a mid-month check-in, because remember, this is a special month. So for those of you who have survived the new moon earlier this month, it's been sensitive. It's been very sensitive. And I have, because I'm particularly personally taking this particular new moon square Pluto that we just had to some very sensitive, vulnerable points in my chart. I've really been feeling it up and down and up and down, and like, oh my God, like not having the confidence to get out of bed in the morning because, good Lord, you know, clearly I'm a failure in life and I'm a horrible person, and oh my God, how does anybody stand me? And I'm sure my mother's just pretending to love me. It's been bad, but I'm feeling better now. And one of the things I just want to remind you guys is one of the most delicious, wonderful, joyous things about tough times is that when you're literally at your psychological or emotional bottom, the smallest kindnesses and generosity from people will create such relief from your stress that it will cause spontaneous bursting of tears, like I'm about to do now, just thinking about it. And with me, it was literally something as stupid as I needed to move an air conditioner out of the window, and I couldn't do it by myself. Normally I do these things alone, but I couldn't do it by myself this time. So my back has not been right since I left Amazon. And I had some real concerns that I would either my back would go out or I'd drop the air conditioner or both at the same time. And I really needed like physical help, a second set of hands moving this. And of course, I can't find anybody. So you feel really alone and vulnerable in those situations. And older women, and certainly men, but especially older women who are over 40 and living alone, you know, or with elderly parents, or, you know, this sort of thing, you know, you will be more appreciative of what this feels like when you're in these situations. So community is very important, but sometimes we don't always have that option. Sometimes that's actually a luxury. So I really was struggling to figure out how I was going to move this air conditioner by myself and not end up in an ambulance or with window pretty much open the entire winter. And an old friend of mine who, bless his heart, I only call him when I need something. I hate to even say that, but we have that kind of friendship, and I'm so ashamed of myself. I should do better. I really should do better. But we knew each other back in high school, and these days we just don't have a lot in common. We still live in the same area and we share history. So sometimes it's a little hard to hang out with him because we're just in very different places in life. But bless his heart, if I call him and I need something, he's there like Johnny on the spot. So um, I didn't hear from him for 3 or 4 days. Of course, the world is coming to an end, and clearly now nobody loves me. Oh my God, I'm so awful. But apparently he didn't get the message. Just kind of called him and said, "Oh yeah, I'll have to break there." Um, and the relief, the relief from my stress and not knowing that I'm not going to be alone trying to struggle through this stuff really made such a difference. I was practically in tears on the phone. So all of this is to say is that when we hit those times, we're literally kind of grasping for straws and reaching for anything we can get for a helping hand. The tough times are the ones that really give you an opportunity to deeply appreciate anybody's assistance with anything, because it matters. It all matters. The smallest kindnesses matter. So, and while we're moving forward, because remember, in a couple of years, we've got that Saturn-Uranus square that's going to kick in. Like, we need to be as metaphysicians, we need to be very aware of that. And that is that the smallest kindnesses make a huge difference when people are going through tough times. And it costs nothing to be kind. Okay? So keep that under your hat. Okay, so, folks. So there's the housekeeping and my long-winded personal story just had to share. Now, remember when we talked about this month, right? So at the beginning of the month, we've got, at the beginning of the month, we had that new moon square Pluto, and it was on the midpoint of Mercury, Jupiter. Remember, that was a hidden aspect. So we know that there's magic hidden in the whatever this is, the pressures that new moon square Pluto was creating. There was magic hidden in there, but we had to go through that process to find it. So what we were experiencing, was a lot like the formation of a diamond. So diamonds are actually coal. But what happens is the coal has to be compressed by so many hundreds and thousands of tons of pressure that it literally changes the crystalline structure of the coal and turns it into a diamond. That's the only way a natural diamond can be formed. That is literally through pressure that would otherwise, and often does, destroy other pieces of coal, except this particular one or this particular grouping of coal happened to adhere, and it adheres to such a point that it became something, it transformed into one of the most priceless and valuable gems on earth. So this new moon Pluto midpoint that we were dealing with this at the beginning of the month, that's a lot of what was started, and we're feeling it all month. But it's a very internal, it's just like that pressure on the coal. Like, it's very slow and subtle, and you don't even notice that it's happening until you just can't get out of it. And all of this is an internal hidden process. Okay. And if you make it, you transform into something rare and beautiful and valuable, right? Part of you becomes the diamond itself, right? So we're halfway there. We're halfway there. And if you've been going through it, you may have found yourself doing a lot of internal dialogue this last couple of weeks. So lots of internal dialogue. Some of it not so happy. Some of it okay. But certainly with an eye to the future and a long term, and really making long, hard assessments. Okay. So today, the moon is in Capricorn, and it is setting up a T-square or a square. I have to think. I have forgotten everything. Nope, it's setting up a square. It's reactivating this square earlier in the month. Now, remember, the full moon is going to occur around the 24th. So right now, we've got about 10 days until we get to that full moon exact. And that's when all of this will just kind of come together and everything will start making sense. Hi. So right now, because life and astrology is not a one-time thing. And here's where people get confused. Like, it is a process. So right now, even though that new moon square Pluto aspect is passed and we're not into the full moon yet, this entire spectrum, literally this entire span of time, are the miles that we walk psychologically and spiritually to get from point A to point B. All right. And you got to keep walking. And if you want to get where you're trying to go, all right, you have to pay attention and you have to walk with a purpose. Otherwise, you're going to wander and meander and all sort of stuff, and you'll never get to the goalpost. So you'll never get anything out of it. So right now, that's kind of a mid-month check-in to make sure you guys are doing your process. All right. Going inward, going deep, re-examining yourself, really asking yourself some important questions about where you are failing yourself. Okay. So much of everything in life is about confidence, but more than that, we have to have enough confidence in ourselves that we deserve happiness, that we are worthy of pleasure and relief. Okay. And that we, more than forgiving other people, that we can forgive ourselves for being human and imperfect. These are the things that we need to work through this month on a very deep level. And only you're going to know for yourself where these things really apply. And you don't even necessarily have to consciously understand what's happening. You just have to be willing to face your demons, you know what I mean? Or face the bears, as it were. Part of this also may include, because there's a lot of Scorpio involved in this, Scorpio and Capricorn. For myself, it's a lot of this has been about purging. So I'm reinventing things, but more importantly, I'm getting rid of stuff that's been hanging on me like an anchor. For some of you, it may be jobs. For some of you, it may be relationships. For some of you, it may be stuff, like literally having clutter around you all the time, you know, for no particular purpose, except you're terrified of being poor. So you're afraid to let go of anything. And ultimately, it's all about the energy. So these things that we use as obstacles to keep us from moving forward and doing more with ourselves are also excuses that we use for not taking risks. Okay. I was just listening to something the other day, and I'm going to share it with you. So I want you to remember this, because this is a great, great thing to keep in your mind, especially now and moving forward for the next few years. There are only two things in life. There are reasons and there are results. And results never lie. So put that in your stew and cook it for a while. Phenomenal quote. And this is what I'm living with these days. So there are only reasons or results, and results don't lie. Okay. So we're doing a whole big clean sweep here. All right. So with that said, my loves. All right. So here's what we got going on this week. I'm not wearing my glasses, so bear with me, darlings. All right. So the North Node has turned retrograde again. The nodes move back and forth. I don't really worry about the retrograde and direct stations of the nodes so much. They just don't do it for me. This is a drink I'm going to have to pass up at the bar. It just doesn't do anything for me. Now, Mercury is moving down to 17 Scorpio, and it's moving fast. Tomorrow, it will hit 19 Scorpio. On Tuesday, well, depending on where you are. And then, of course, by Wednesday, it will have moved away from that degree. Now, this particular degree is important because at 19 Scorpio, there are two fixed stars, one good, the other bad. And we're not going to get too much into which one's which, because they're literally like right on top of each other, both at 19. So, and it's Zubin, in case you're wondering, it's Zubin el-Shamali, and Zubin el-Janubi. So with both of these degrees, at these fixed stars at this particular degree, they have a lot to do with medicine and healing and deep processes, right? You know, the karmic obligations that we have to ourselves and to other people in our lives. It also has a lot to do with the deep psychic processes on the web that connects us all, right? So the thing with psychic work, in case you didn't know, right? With psychic work, it's not this thing where this person has this unique ability to like open up this, monitor in their head and suddenly see these pictures like they're watching TV. It's more like psychic ability is a lot more akin to a spider web. So when spiders spin their web, the whole reason that they spin these huge elaborate webs is not only to trap their food and prey, but also because that web gives them information. The minute something steps onto that web and the web vibrates, from any point on that web, the spider can feel it and knows instantly what's going on, right? And where it is, what's happening, because it's all connected. And with psychic ability, it's the same thing. Some people are more sensitive to the web Not the World Wide Web, the psychic web. Some people are more sensitive to that. So the minute something is happening in the ethers, they're able to tune in and pick up specifically what that thing is, or as close as you can get. Okay, because we're all connected. We're all connected. And this is why sometimes you're going to get bad readings from people, because they may be connected to the web, but that whatever part of the web they're connected to is not connected to you very well. So they're not going to get accurate information. Or they may be so full of their own biases that anything that they're picking up is getting filtered through this sludge of personal prejudice. At the end of the day, psychics are still human. You got to know that. All right. So Mercury at these degrees of these fixed stars, Zubin El Janubi and Zubin El Shamali, has a lot to do with a spider web and being hyper aware of information and it coming to you from the ethers, as it were, about people and things around you. So listen to your intuition over the next couple of days and not your feelings. There's a difference. Okay. So your feelings are the part of it like, oh, that's ridiculous and this is never going to happen and everybody hates me or everybody loves me or everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. Like it's all the bubbly emotions that go up and down, right? Like the waves. Remember, all month long, it's about going deeper. So when you go deeper and you get into that quiet place, that little whisper in your ear, that's your intuition. It has nothing to do with your feelings, right? So listen to your intuition over the next couple of days, because it'll be ringing loud and clear for everybody. Well, mostly everybody. Okay, Venus remains retrograde. It is steadily and slowly marching down into Libra, but it's not there yet. Right now, it is at 3 or 4-ish. I want to say it has moved away from. Thank God, it has moved away from that square with Mars. So we're getting a little bit of relief there. However, because God is a comedian. The sun is now in early Scorpio, and the sun is now approaching the conjunction with Venus. So the sun is rapidly moving in to eclipse or overshadow Venus. So relationships are going to kind of go through a little bit of a weird time this week as egos take front and center stage and more sensitive cooperative things kind of get hidden behind the scenes because Venus is retrograde and it's weak. It's weak by sign, it's weak by position. And now the sun is literally about to steamroll right over it and make it invisible. So you may find that people are a little, what's the word I want to use? I almost want to say people are a little bit more mean, but this is mean to the point of cruelty. So there are some people who, if they have the capacity to be really big, they're really going to be like feeling it over the next few days. So with that said, obviously we want to stay out of the line of fire with them. So use your intuition, listen to your instincts. They'll tell you everything about when you need to get out of Dodge. Okay. And don't think you're being crazy. Like just go, just go. And the other is be kind, be kind. There's a whole lot of people who are just going to be overly aggressive, overly mean, overly cruel, overly sadistic. It's all about power and swinging their big power, excuse my language, dick around. Of course, like this thing up in New York with these guys, they call themselves like the Proud Boys, and they walk out of a meeting the next day, they're like just jumping people on New York City streets. And listen, we're not going to get into politics, but here's what I am going to say. Like anytime you have to go jump on people, individual people, not groups of people, individual people, and you have to jump on them like a pack of animals, you're not only a POS, you're a coward. Because what kind of person literally kicks somebody when they're down? If you watch the videos of these things, it was literally a gang of guys jumping on a single person. And once the guy was on the ground, they kept going. They, plural. That's just wrong, man. This is what I mean when I talk about excessive aggression and cruelty and meanness. We're going to see more of this, okay? Because the sun is eclipsing a retrograde Venus, and the Venus is in Scorpio, couldn't possibly be in a weaker position right now. So all of the things that make for civilized behavior, and what's considered feminine traits, like being kind, being gracious, putting relationships above ego. We're going to see more of we're more like a zit popping, a social zit popping, as it were. We're going to be seeing a lot of this popping up over the next few days. Because those Proud Boys, I read about it in the paper. Now that I'm thinking about it, I read it on the paper the other day. Today's Monday, so that would have been Saturday or Sunday. Right. And Saturday and Sunday, let's see where we're at. No, the sun's not there. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Saturday and Sunday, the sun was at 26, 27, which is still in the burning way. Right. Sorry, it's next weekend. All this business about Sun and Venus and this meanness is coming up next weekend, starting the end of this week, Thursday, and certainly picking up speed and alarming behavior through Sunday and onward, but certainly over by the middle of next week. So we should be preparing, my apologies, for next weekend. So this business with these boys in New York is the beginning, our foreshadowing of stuff we can expect to see later. Because this did occur when the sun was in Via Combusta. Oy, Jesus, what the hell is wrong with people, right? All right, where are we? Today is the 15th. Mercury is in early Scorpio. Oh, my Lord. Okay, so disregard everything I just said, because this is all for next week. This is what your astrologer sounds like. Not on drugs. Oh, my gosh. Right, and that's around the full moon. Oh, so this is a pre-full moon report. Sorry. Yeah, so everything I just said stands. I stand by everything I just said. My dates are off, though, because all this is actually occurring next week around that full moon. Man. Yeah, that's going to be colorful. Jeez Louise. All right. So we're going to jump back to this week. Mars is at 12 Aquarius. It's not really doing anything. Mars is kind of out there and not really doing anything. That's kind of interesting. Although Mercury and Mars will go into, on Thursday, Mercury and Mars will go into a square. I wonder what this nonsense was about. Well, Mercury was squaring Uranus when this nonsense up in New York happened. And we had a quarter moon. Okay. So we had a quarter moon on the 16th, which is tomorrow. So we're moving into a quarter moon. And that's going to reactivate this new moon. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the full moon will be quite full moon. We are getting some foreshadowing of things to come. Ultimately, right now, all any of us can do is attend to ourselves and keep ourselves together. Remember, the magic in the new moon will appear in the full moon, right? It will all coalesce and come together in the full moon if we've done the work and we're prepared for it. It will not be without its challenges, certainly not without its challenges. And lesser evolved people who are not trying to develop themselves, who are not trying to be better people, who are not, we need, as much as we hate poop, we need the fertilizer because it makes things grow. So everyone, regardless of what their position or disposition is in life, is necessary. Everybody's got a role to play and a purpose to serve, even the people we feel like shouldn't be here. So for lesser evolved people, these energies are going to be more challenging because they thrive on chaos and negativity and hostility, and they are looking for opportunities to go into bloody battle with pretty much anyone and anything, because that's what they're here for. Somebody has to be fodder for the fight, right? So they may be more whipped up than usual as we get closer to this full moon. That does not necessarily have to be you, and you don't have to be a victim of it. Remember, Mercury, this all next week, I got my dates mixed up. All next week, as we get into that full moon, Mercury will be on the degrees of those fixed stars, Zubin El Shamali and Zubin El Janubi in Scorpio, which means that spider web, that psychic sense, like your instincts, your intuition, will be off the hook. Everybody's will, but you got to be able to separate your intuition from your emotions, and you have to be able to separate your instincts and your intuition from your projections, like things that you're just kind of imagining because you want to imagine them. So I think that's it. So I just wanted to check in. Just wanted to check in because I don't know, just because. So I'm going to go because I'm actually in the process of purging a lot of stuff and doing some reorganization here and crafts. Yay, metaphysical crafts. So if you guys have any questions, put them out there now, and then we're going to close down the show and get on with the day. And we'll see you again at the end of the month. I swear the day I get on here and I'm organized and I know what I'm going to say, and it's not off the cuff as we go, and I'm wearing makeup and I'm prepared and producing this, you guys are just not going to know what to do with yourselves. Nothing? Yes, this I will post. I apologize for the other one that I not posted. So some of the streams that are kind of live chats are kind of casual. Sometimes I'll pull them off because there might be something that I just don't want out there too much. So if there's ever something that I broadcast and you don't see the post and you have a question about it, you can always reach out to me and I will get it back to you. So I apologize for that. This one will go up. Your lost phone. Like physically lost phone? Where's Lisa's phone? Well, somebody physically has it, Lisa. So as far as your lost phone goes, it looks like somebody physically has it. And I don't know that you're necessarily going to get it back. It doesn't look like they want to give it up. So you might want to call your phone company or something, because the recovery is not looking good on this. It's possible, but it's not looking good. Transiting Jupiter. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we're inhabiting, whether it's our house, our bodies, or whatever. Like all of this stuff outside of us is just theater, right? And ultimately, all of the real work and value in life is the inner development. Because listen, it doesn't matter if you are a beautiful statue and there's nothing, there's nothing inside, right? You're just dead wood inside. Like that's nothing. Ask any old person, I'll tell you that the thing that really matters about people is not their job or their houses or their clothes or even what they look like. It's literally the person they are. Like there's a point where you get to where you realize that all this window dressing on the outside is just theater. And it's a gym. It's an exercise gym for us to practice different skills and things to become more of who we are. It's a psychological gym. All right. So transiting Jupiter in the 5th is currently in the 5th and will soon oppose my Venus and Mercury. Any thoughts? So that is a little bit more complicated, or at least should be more complicated answer than we're going to work with just this little bit of information. So sorry, I have two things happening at the same time now. So Jupiter through the 5th tends to create significant increased potentials of getting pregnant. So if you are of childbearing age or not on birth control, these things are not necessarily mutually exclusive. You might want to be aware of that. Opposing your Venus and your Mercury could be anything. So the thing about it is when you're looking at these transits, it's not enough to look at the planets and what sign you're in or whatever. Like we have to look at the entire combination of things. Okay. So it's if I give you a recipe and I say I've got eggs, sugar, butter, flour. Okay, now I want you to make a cake. You're going to look at me and say, well, okay, wait, stop. But I need more information. Like how many eggs, how much butter, what order does it go in? Da 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 da. All those things matter. So it's the same thing when you're analyzing a chart. We have to break out all the information and put it back together again to figure out how this constructs a proper coherent sentence. What time are we at? 2:17. I got to go in a few minutes. All right. Oh, okay. I know that's a complete non-answer, right? Okay. So, gotta go. Craft, folks. Crafts. Oh, good. All right. I don't know what M is. Oh my God. And it's 20 after 2. So, all right. I'm going to go. I've got it. No, I really do have to go. I have to get somebody to help me move air conditioners. And I will be back to check in on you guys at the end of the month. Remember, this full moon at the end of the month is going to be particularly dicey. Only because some people, not everybody, but some people will really be feeling themselves in all the wrong ways. So their propensity for cruelty will be off the hook, as if they couldn't have already been there and done that by now, right? So understanding that, this is falling apart. See, you know you're an astrologer when your ephemeris is falling apart because you use it so much. I really like the new one. So listen to your instincts, be aware, practice kindness at every opportunity. It's not our job to judge other people and how they're living in life and how well or poorly they're doing. So this whole thing, and you see this a lot, you'll see this a lot with people when they talk about beggars, right? You know, so there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you know, I'm not, you know, feeding into this panhandler nonsense and yada, yada, yada. Listen, not your job, not your job. And if you don't approve, then don't approve. But you don't have to commit psychological and emotional violence by giving the person dirty looks or speaking to them in a derogatory manner or just generally being a hose bag when you're dealing with them. Like, listen, if you don't support it and you don't believe in it or whatever, and you've got your ideas about why this person is doing it, you don't know. I mean, listen, unless you go home with them, you don't know why they're out there, right? Just move on. Just move on. Nothing gives you the right to abuse other people because you don't like what they're doing. Okay? If they're doing something that hurts somebody, you have the right to intervene and the obligation to intervene, you know, obviously. But if they're not hurting you and they're not hurting other people, you have no right to be a hose bag. Move on, right? So, but what you'll see a lot of people who are feel a need, you know, to pass judgment and, you know, oh, this kind of thing, whatever, or do worse in some cases, right? To do worse. And I use the beggars and homeless people as an example because it's a really good one, right? So practicing kindness is not going to cost you anything. You don't know anything about this person. You don't know why they're in this position. You know, all you know is how you feel about what you think this person represents. And that's a you thing. And you can keep your you stuff to yourself. Okay? Don't you all over other people. You don't want me youing my crap all over you, right? So it's the same thing. And I think it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget what it means to be on the receiving end of other people's garbage thinking. Okay. Because you're walking along, you're minding your business, you know, whatever. And like the guy in the car behind you thinks you're going too slow. And then he's all kinds of screaming and honking his horn and sticking the finger at you. And you're just like, what the hell, man? Like, what did I do? And it's the same thing with people who are homeless and beggars and people who are in less fortunate or, well, certainly much less fortunate positions. So as we move through the month, practice kindness and understand that people who have the propensity and the desire to be abusive prats will be even more so as we get closer to this full moon, well above and beyond what is justifiable or excusable. And certainly it's never tolerable, but they're really going to be off the chain. So we don't have to be a part of that. We don't have to support that. But the other thing is we can help ameliorate some of the damage from that by practicing kindness where we can, with people, whether no matter how we feel about them and what they represent to us. We can still practice kindness. All right. And that includes yourself. So on that note, I got to go. Wow, I've got this productivity momentum going. We got to get stuff done. So yes, arts and crafts and astrology and metaphysics. Looking forward to it.